to nutrition equity, the show where we delve into the medical nutrition and the impact on families and communities. I'm your host, Joanna, and today we have a very special guest, Annetta, who she is not only a patient but a biologist. And let's see. We will be exploring the importance of the impact it has on the effects of family. Annetta. Well, welcome to the show, Annetta.
Thank you.
Let's see. To start, let's talk about Eosinophilia. Can you explain what Eosinophilia is and how it's impacted you?
Well, Eosinophilia, from my understanding, is an increase in eosinophil count, usually through peripheral blood testing. It can have a range of different effects, from local in the skin to the gut, as well as systemic, with a variety of different symptoms. For me personally, I've always had allergies, but my eosinophils have pretty much been rising probably for the last 10 years. So as they've been rising, my symptoms have been increasing, both in terms of dermatitis as well as gastrointestinal issues. I also have ocular rosacea and eye-associated issues as well, which I suspect are probably due to a systemic issue. But there is still, from my understanding, very little research in terms of what causes eosinophilia and what are the symptoms and the long-term effects, or how to even treat it. So, yeah, it's a complex issue.
Right. So how were you diagnosed?
Well, it was really mainly through regular blood tests, but I don't think the doctors are aware really of the impact of it, because I've seen quite a few over the last few years due to the fact that I've been moving, and most physicians don't seem to be concerned, or they will send me to specialists if there is particular issues, so for example, gastrointestinal or eye or skin issues. But the Eosinophilia itself hasn't really been addressed. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand at the moment.
Right. So are you on a formula? Are you on medical foods, or how is?
No. I've seen a gastroenterologist, but again, he didn't seem to be too concerned, unfortunately. So that's something I have to follow up with. So I'm not sure what my sensitivities are. I do have to take supplements. I do have to take particularly omega-3s, specifically for my eye issues, but
to your background, is this treatable with stem cells?
At the moment, not that I am aware of. I would imagine there would need to be more research in terms of where the cells are, what's the actual cause of the eosinophilia, which, from my understanding, is complex and it may be different for different people. So at the moment, I don't really see how this could be treated with stem cells.
Right. So it's not a genetic thing.
Not that I know of.
Medical nutrition is indeed crucial in managing various health conditions. Can you share how it how it makes a difference in your life, and why personalized nutrition is essential in individuals with eosinophilia?
So, for example, in my case, when I had more comprehensive blood tests, I ended up having low folate levels. I also had high iron levels. So it'll be different for different people depending on what their food sensitivities are. So it's important to target those deficiencies. If some people have, for example, much more severe allergies where they're not digesting food, that means they're not getting the nutrition that they need. So that needs to be supplemented somehow. And again, depending on what sensitivity people have, which can be very individualized, that'll need to be targeted for every person. Particularly since a lot of since eosinophilia can cause or induce even allergies later in life, that's something that would probably need to be monitored on a regular basis. In terms of like financially, how would that be?
It's the financial part that we're really having a problem with is medical food and formula. If you do have to follow it, if you do have to follow the medical foods diet, and if you have to be on medical foods or the formula, that's where it really gets expensive.
Yeah.
For this, and it's
not covered by a lot of insurance companies.
Right, not insurance in all states. Some states cover it, very few do.
Okay.
And so that's a lot of the reason why we're still pushing for it, because it's a huge financial aspect of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And right now we're having a hard time getting it reintroduced into in Congress. So we're looking for a House Republican to reintroduce.
Okay.
So but it would cover medical foods, formula, and vitamins nationwide. Mm-hmm. If it did pass. So healthcare companies would be forced to cover a portion of that.
Yeah.
Because now they're not forced to pay anything. It's not a federal law yet.
Yeah.
Eventually it will be.
Yeah. Even vitamin supplements would be quite critical. I spend a lot of money on, vitamins and like omega supplements for my eyes. But I would imagine that's linked to the eosinophilia. And that's completely out of pocket. So, the insurance doesn't cover any of that.
Right. And right now, the FDA sees vitamins as as optional, and so that's why they're not covered.
Yeah. But I mean, for a lot of people, when they do have deficiencies that could be life-threatening, it is actually medically necessary. So,
Right. It is. And so that's where we need to convince the FDA that it is not, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let's see. Okay. As a biologist, how was your scientific background influenced your understanding of the medical nutrition and its importance in managing your health condition, like health conditions like Eosiniphilia? The hard time pronouncing those.
Yeah. Well, I guess what always drives me is understanding what's going on. So whatever is happening with my body, I want to understand what and why. So if a physician or a specialist cannot provide me with the answers, then I am more likely to go and do the research myself. That helps in a way because as a researcher, I've got access to a lot of publications that probably other people don't, as well as other biologists that I can speak to. But it helps in terms of understanding what is necessary for me to eat, to function, to what supplements are important. I guess it helps to sift through a lot of the noise out there and to be able to pick the right things for my health. But also at the same time figure out who are the right people to speak to as well.
How has personalized medical nutrition made a positive impact on your overall well-being and quality of life?
You mean how the nutrition?
Right.
Yeah. Well, definitely in terms of, so I've tried different things in order to alleviate my gastrointestinal issues. And different things that I've tried have definitely helped not only my gastrointestinal health, but also as a result, they've improved my eye symptoms. So having the right supplements or the right nutrition definitely helps in terms of being able to, I mean, a lot of people struggle with going out to eat, socializing, just normal everyday things that other people wouldn't even think about. But being able to have the right supplements and the right nutrition helps you to be able to do those things without having to worry about having symptoms or being in pain, being sick. So yeah, it just, if your symptoms are improved nutritionally or with supplements, then you're better able to function day to day. I would imagine that a lot of people also have issues and take time off work, which obviously it isn't ideal. So not having to take days off work would also benefit their
similar challenges with access to medically necessary foods?
I guess the main advice I would give is read as much as you can about and learn about the condition. Speak to multiple specialists if you can. Even if you don't see them formally, you can always email researchers. That's not to say that they will answer, but sometimes it might be helpful to get somebody's perspective on things. Speak to your physician on a regular basis, get regular blood tests, figure out if you don't know what sensitivities you have, then I would, which is something I still need to do, is get allergy tested to figure out what's going on, and just be your own advocate, I think, is probably the most important thing.
Any future treatments for eosinophilia?
For me personally?
Or for the community as a whole, or either way?
As far as I'm aware, I'm not sure of any specific treatments. I think there are more systemic ones, such as some biological ones that are available, certain steroids, but in terms of something really specific for eosinophilia, I'm not aware of, unfortunately.
It seems to be like one of the more rare conditions off of the list of covered conditions. So I think,
from the reading that I've done, it's only been recognized as a condition fairly recently. So I don't think there's actually all that much that's known about it, but I don't know if it's as rare as what I think physicians think, because, and even speaking to my doctor, there's a discrepancy between, for example, your blood tests having high eosinophilia versus having localized high eosinophil count, where it doesn't need to correlate. So you might have perfectly normal eosinophil count in your peripheral blood when you do the blood test, but that's not to say that you still don't have it locally somewhere within the body. So, and I think that's the difficulty, because unless your symptoms, at least from my personal experience, unless your symptoms are severe or bothersome or long term, then you're almost not taken all that seriously. That's pretty much what I found. So it's really hard. Even when I saw a gastroenterologist, my PCP suggested that I've got eosinophilic esophagitis, but I wasn't tested in terms of having a biopsy and endoscopy to confirm that. So I think there's just not, there's still not a lot that's known, and I don't think a lot of specialists and physicians have the understanding of it, so they're not able to help the patients or identify it as readily as they probably should.
between a high eosinophil count and a low one, as far as you're concerned? How does it affect you when your levels are low and whether they're high?
Well, I mean, in terms of low levels, usually a high eosinophil count is associated with allergy symptoms, so they can be either hay fever, rhinitis. They can be things like dermatitis, eczema, anything of the sort. So having a normal level basically means that your body isn't overreacting to things that it shouldn't be reacting to. So, for example, pollen. When you've got high eosinophil count, your body is more likely to react to things that are innocuous, such as pollen. For me personally, I haven't had a normal or low eosinophil count in over 10 years, so I think I have, gotten used to my regular symptoms.
So, what are the potentials of it being if it does go low?
I would imagine for me, if I did go back to normal levels, I would have my skin symptoms, possibly some of my eye symptoms would improve, definitely my gastrointestinal. I probably wouldn't have, I'm currently constantly on antihistamines, so I would imagine I wouldn't have to take those on a regular basis either. So yeah, my body wouldn't be overreacting to all the different things.
So you said that's been over 10 years since that's happened?
Yeah.
So this is not something that's lifelong.
I think it probably depends on the individuals, and again that comes back to there's just not enough research to be able to say whether there are certain genetic factors, for example, that could cause this, or whether it is more environmental, whether it is something that happens over time. I mean, I've always been prone to allergies, but it's something that I've only really experienced over the last 10 years.
So how would you know if the allergy has something to do with your eosinophilia and not just a regular allergy?
That you can't really tell the difference. So, because, I mean, eosinophils are the cells that are responsible for the allergic reaction. So, whether it is due to that or not is not going to be, it's not something you can really, I guess, determine. Probably not without detailed testing being done.
Mm-hmm. that's it for today. You can visit us. You can go to nutritionequity.org to find out more. There's a list of the covered conditions there, and there's also a place where you can fill out a letter to send to Congress. Right now we're looking for House Republican, as I mentioned earlier. You can also write your patient stories if you are one of the patients with a covered condition on the list. You can follow me on YouTube under Rare Chef. It's Rare_Chef. But for right now, I want to thank you for your time, and